evening on this Monday, April 14th, 2025 at 10 o'clock. Please pray with us if you care to, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you bow with me for a moment of prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this nice weather we're going to enjoy today. And dear Lord, we just like to recall when you paid our sin debt on the cross at Calvary, your final words in it, an admonition to Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And dear Lord, I just ask for that intercession again for us. It seems like the world could use that today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have, under elected officials and department heads, Board of Commissioners, we have three sections that we'll take to approval. Is number one, approval of annual agreements for the different offices, approval to apply for grants, annual grants for the different offices, and then ratification of change orders that have been signed and need to be ratified. Need a motion?
Probably, you want me to read them? Let me just read them off, because sometimes I catch heck if we vote on something without.
They're on the agenda.
All right. Under the annual agreements, the recorder, Fiddler Technologies, the sheriff is Homeway LLC, Public Safety Communications, Rave Safety Mobile Animal Control is Braden Business Systems. Under grant applications, WIC Health First Indiana Funds, Court Services IOCS Problem Solving Court, Juvenile Problem Solving Court, Veterans Treatment Court, Reentry Court, Drug Court, Mental Health Court. Kind of shows you where a lot of our emphasis are. Ratification of change orders, All-Star Paving, CO02 on Independence Park Pickleball Courts, White Oak Commercial Group, CO2, that's change order 2 and 3 for the Highway Temporary Salt Barn, CR Stafford and Associates for Juvenile Classroom and Courtroom Renovation, CW Sneed Company, LLC, change order on Boiler Building Project. Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ratification of Board of Commissioners Hearing Officer's decision on appeal and trustees denial of assistance update. Do we have an update?
Good.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ratification of 2024 EMPG salary reimbursement, which is emergency management salary.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Got a lot of them in a row here. Please bear with us as we get through this whole list. Acceptance of 2024 Johnson County Redevelopment Annual Report.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Acceptance of lowest quote and award of contract pursuant to IC 36-1-12-5 for the juvenile detention kitchen restroom plumbing repair project. And do we have a list of those prices?
Right here.
Somebody wants to bring that up?
Move to approve.
We have to see the lowest bid.
First response plumbing.
I'll go ahead.
First response plumbing.
I'm a little concerned
I
about
am
that
too.
price.
Did
So
they get any close?
maybe
Yeah,
we
we've
can,
got them all right here. It's half of the other two.
I think maybe we need to probably have somebody look at those, and I don't know.
Is Wes back here? Yeah. Why don't we have Wes look over it and report? Well, I don't think we'll take a motion today, But if you can look over those,
Maybe Wes and
Yeah.
Jason together,
Yeah.
maybe if you,
because there's,
because Jason's more familiar with that since it falls under our maintenance, which is really not our maintenance, but we'll look at it just to make sure.
bids are just way, way all over the board here. I just want to make sure we don't get into a firestorm later.
And Jason, if you could bring that back to us, would be great, if you would, sir. I appreciate it.
How do you get a quote over the phone?
And it's, yeah, you can. We do it all the time.
Do we?
Yeah.
They just give you a verbal quote over the phone? Second.
Just hold them.
Yeah, we're, motion to hold them second.
Yeah.
All
You want
those-
to talk, Christie?
Christy Ruther, Director of the Detention Center. They did email us a quote. I wanted just to clarify that. I contacted them initially by phone, but they did follow up with an email quote.
Okay.
And a lot of times they'll come and look at it and then, and phone quote one too.
Yeah.
We have it.
Yeah, they
Happen all
all
the time.
came on site and looked at it. I am also concerned with the difference.
And and if you look at the listing, they seem to have most of it there. It's just hard to tell because they're so generalized compared to the other two quotes, which
Yeah, and
were
this has
pretty.
been the first time working with them.
And I think we just need more, I
A
think
bit
we need more
clarity, let them
specifics
dig
of
through
what,
it and
yeah.
make sure, verify everything.
And what I would recommend, Jason or Wes, would be to send out the specifications and make sure that they've got those covered as we normally would. And then go ahead and move forward with that. We just need to be careful, and I know we got some issues over there that we need to really take a good look at. So let us kind of work with that if you don't mind, Christie, and we'll get it going.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for taking the time to get those. All those in favor to give those to Jason and Wes to come back with a conclusion?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Employee handbook change? We need to go over that.
We can.
Do we need to?
Well, Tiffany's going to be there tomorrow morning at our 9 o'clock get-together, and she's going to take a few minutes to just go through some of the employee handbook changes. And I'm assuming most every department's going to be represented there tomorrow, and if they're not, we can get the word out to them. So I go ahead and move to approve these changes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Resolution 2025-R-2, resolution in opposition to SB 1's provision to eliminate business personal property by pay 2033. And you don't really want me going there, but if you want to talk about it, we can discuss it.
Well, I complimented Tiffany and Taylor. Taylor especially worked on this. I thought it was well-written, kind of lays it out as to our opposition and what is currently being considered in Senate Bill 1, and then whatever the House decides to do also in conjunction with that. The real issue here is, and I mentioned this to Senator Bray at the Friday's legislative matter luncheon, that I felt like the governor kind of threw the General Assembly under the bus on this issue. It was a great campaign platform program, easy for people to buy into and to back and to garner votes in that fashion. But the reality is, if they do get property tax relief, they're going to get the difference made up through income, and that becomes disproportionate in the application because, as I've said before, 100% of the people who own property pay property tax, but 100% of the people that own property don't work. So the renters and people of that nature are really going to get a double whammy. They get no property tax relief, yet they're going to see a sizable income tax increase probably as this thing goes forward. So I just think the whole thing was kind of ramrodded through with a intention to do something positive for the homeowners or taxpayers. as far as property tax, but the reality is, this is just another fiasco the state's thrust upon us. I mentioned Friday, we've done everything the state has directed us to do in the past. You know, they're the one that said we had to go to trending, which increases property values on an annual basis. They put property tax caps in, and that, they even constitutionalized that. We're still paying all taxing units millions of dollars every year, or we're losing millions of dollars every year in income. And now coupled with this, and this whole General Assembly seems to have lost their way. I know Dr. Dunkel with our community hospital, Johnson Memorial Hospital, they're going to take a sizable hit if this legislation goes through. So it's just not good for local governments, let me put it that way. And so I move to approve this provision to eliminate business personal property tax. Really, the businesses are one to get the best bang for the buck out of this whole thing, and not the working guy.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I will say, if you want to listen down the road, I have a podcast that I haven't done for a little while, but I will be doing a podcast on everything that's going on at the state and what property taxes are about and what this, and the things that we're doing, business, personal property. So just kind of stand by, and at least you'll get to hear so I don't take up a lot of time here. So you'll get to hear my take on everything that I've been through, and we're trying to work with the state on making the right decisions instead of the decisions that they're making. So I'll let you know when that comes out, and I'm going to start working on it as quickly as tonight. So I want to make sure I get that out there. That way I don't have to pound on the bench here. I need a gavel.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
It could be dangerous.
Yeah, no, you
I
don't.
need a big one.
I guess a 2-to-1 vote, you don't get it.
Ordinance 2025-0-4, an ordinance publishing or prohibiting the unauthorized removal of tampering with barricades or traffic control devices in Johnson County, Indiana, first reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and this is absolutely absurd that we even have to discuss this.
I
and do
agree
this.
100%.
But just some of the ridiculous things that I saw when I was out Friday, Saturday, and somewhat on Sunday of this last rain, of this, just the stupid acts of movement. I don't know how many barricades my wife and I put back up driving around the county on Saturday that people were knocked down, run over, moved, whatever. And then to see all the vehicles sitting in that water above their door panels was just absolutely absurd. I don't understand how anybody can think in that process to do something that ridiculous that not only endangers their lives, but endangers the lives of our public servants and any citizen that tries to stop and help these people for their stupidity. I am sorry. When it gets that ridiculous, somebody's got to say something sooner or later about how ridiculous this is. And it's a shame that we're discussing this today, and I hate to even be in this conversation, but I think it's about time that we've made a statement and we said something to these people, because they just don't care. And I'm sorry I had to say that, but I had to say it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, Sheriff. Ah. You had to be there. Fleet, approval to attend the Police Technology and Equipment Exchange 2025 on June 24th through the 26th, 2025 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Want to make sure that we're aware that there is no cost to the county or the taxpayer for this trip. It's all paid for.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. C, under health, approval to attend the 2025 National Environment Assessment Reporting System Training on May 13th to the 15th in Atlanta, Georgia.
Betsy Swearingen, Director of Health Department. It's all paid for as well. She got a scholarship, 100%.
I was going to
So,
mention that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Parks, approval to attend the 2025 Indiana Parks and Recreation Association Conference on November 11th and the 13th, 2025 in Muncie, Indiana. I don't assume it's all being paid for.
Kevin Leonard, Park Superintendent. No, it's not. It comes out of our, one of our non-revertings is our travel and training. I get a discount on the conference fee since I'm part of the planning committee, so it's a little cheaper for me to attend. And it would be 3 nights of hotel for me and then 2 nights for Christy, our recreation director.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I do want to make a comment, though, while you're up here, Kevin, that I think Christie's doing an amazing, excellent job at the park and everything that's going on down there. So I'm really, really pleased with the direction the park's going and what improvements have been made over the last couple of years. And then we just continue to add to that and do more and more out there. So I want to thank you all and your staff. Please be sure to let them know I appreciate everything they're doing.
I will, thank you.
Thank you. Recorder, approval to attend the Fiddlers Symposium on May 19th to the 21st, 2025 in Des Moines, Iowa.
Hi.
I don't suppose that one's paid for either, right?
A little bit of mileage and then hotel we have to pay for.
Who to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. But Des Moines, Iowa, here we go again, right? Every year, Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah.
Go to the Amana colonies.
You know someplace exciting there?
The Amana
I've
colonies.
been all over there. I've never found any place
If you find
exciting.
the Amana colonies,
Not back in my day anyway, when I was there.
it's pretty,
There you go, Trip. Public Safety Communications, wanted to approval to attend the 2025 Indiana 911 Director Summit and proclamation 2025 Johnson County Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, which I assume you'll read.
I have a copy of it.
Once we approve.
move to approve the conference.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, proclamation in 2025 Johnson County Public Safety Telecommunicator Week. You want to read it before we approve it? You want to let him, you want to approve it?
Yeah, go ahead, Heath.
Okay. So whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Johnson County Public Safety Communications Center. And whereas professional public safety telecommunicators as a vital link between citizens and victims and are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators in Johnson County have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And now therefore it is proclaimed by the Johnson County Board of Commissioners of the County of Johnson, State of Indiana, the week of April the 13th through April the 19th, 2025, to the Johnson County Public Safety Telecommunications Week in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a
Thank you.
second. Yes, thank you, Heath. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Again, Heath, I want to thank you all in 911 Center for all you that you do and the responsiveness that we've had over these past issues that we've had in Johnson County. We come out like a shining light every time we have an incident in Johnson County. So again, thank you to all you out there.
Thank you.
I've said it and I'm gonna say it again, I say it all the time, when Johnson County has an issue or we have a catastrophe, we are the best at getting things done than any other county in this state, as far as I'm concerned, and I've been around a lot of those other counties now, so I appreciate y'all. Go ahead, ma'am. Treasurer, ordinance 2025-0-2.
Good morning, Kim Hamilton, Johnson County Treasurer. We are proposing an ordinance for mobile home permits for transfer, title transfer, and moving permits. In 2024, there were approximately 1,940 mobile homes in Johnson County, and we issued approximately 409 permits. Permits are good for 90 days. We continue to have an issue with the mobile home parks not using those within the 90 days and coming back to us asking for a second permit. And the process to do the second permit is as long as the process to do the first permit. We feel that this will make them more responsible. They either come back, they don't use them within the 90 days, or they lose them and come back and request a second one. I've spoke to several counties that do charge this fee.
I'm good.
Yeah. Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. How's it going, by the way?
Great.
Okay. Sometimes I have to ask. Coroner ordinance 2025-0-3, an ordinance establishing the Johnson County Coroner Office fee schedule, first reading.
Good morning, Michael Pruitt, Johnson County Coroner. We sign cremation requests from time to time for funeral homes that are non-coroner cases, and this usually comes back to us because there's a dispute within the family, or there's a issue and no one will sign the death certificate, and so the cremation request will come to us a lot of times. So we're just looking for an ordinance where we can do a service fee for non-coroner cases. And then the other part of this ordinance would be, we've had some interest of smaller counties coming to our facility to have their autopsies conducted in certain situations, and so we're just trying to put a fee in place. This is not an uncommon fee that exists throughout the state of Indiana with other counties. So we just wanted to get this in place to give us that ability to collect that fee for services rendered that really aren't our cases, but outside cases.
I guess my question would be, I guess, to our legal department, is that going to create some liability that would be
For them to use it?
obstructive to?
So we might be able to talk about that, but we modeled this off of other counties and how they charge the fee. So it's other government units because it's other Indiana counties. So it shouldn't.
Well,
It's not a private,
Right, but you're just talking a different
Right.
scenario where you're dealing with blood and things like that I think there could be some, liability.
It wouldn't hurt to get that in place, so. And this is, the fee can go in and then we can talk about like prior to the first time we have it.
Of what kind of waivers or liability
Yes,
issues
yes.
need to be signed.
I mean,
I want
just
to
a
make sure we
harmless-
cover the
yeah.
taxpayers in Johnson County.
No,
on
that's
that.
good, and it wouldn't be hard to do,
Okay.
hold harmless, so.
And then I'm good with that.
I would move to approve and also put a caveat in there that we would ratify any changes thereof. If you do a hold harmless or whatever you do, we'll just ratify that
Yes.
in lieu of this. So that would be my motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Pruitt. Appreciate it, sir. Highway, final acceptance of Stones Crossing Road and Saddle Club Roundabout. And number 2, approval and execution of letter of understanding with NDOT. Is there ever any understanding there? Oh, did I just say that? No.
Well, good morning, Daniel Johnson, Highway Engineer. Yes, the first item is just seeking your approval and execution on the Form IC 639. This is the official final inspection form for that project.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second item, yes, it's a letter of understanding with NDOT. NDOT has a bridge project that they'll have on State Road 44, just slightly east of County Road 575 West. It's going to occur between the beginning of May and I think it's the end of June. There's going to be a closure for a time. NDOT typically for these types of projects will have an official detour that's signed. In this case, it's going to be 252 between Martinsville and Morgantown, 135 up to Trafalgar. But they generally enter into a letter of understanding with the local, with the county, for an unofficial detour. So if there's any damage to a particular route that we've identified, and there's a map of it that was in your packet, if there's any damage that's related to this project, we will enter discussions with them to identify costs of those repairs and will be reimbursed from NDOT for those repairs.
I do have a question for you, Daniel. On the 575, that road is atrocious right now. You've seen it.
Yes.
Is that included in this?
No, we have it on our task list to get some repairs done prior to that work so that that'd be a better assessment of damages related to the detour of the project.
But I know they have, a lot of utility relocations have happened already down there because there's been people there over the winter. And I think I've seen a lot of trucks parked right there, and especially where that bad area is coming up to 44. I didn't know I just wanted to see if that was included in this because some of that damage has occurred because of that. And I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't good to begin with, but it's a heck of a lot worse now.
Right now, yes.
I mean, it's bad. We're down to one lane basically.
Right. We can try to look into that.
See if they'll.
Yeah, that might be a bit of a challenge just because we don't have the agreement yet or a defined timeline of what we're identifying, or what we agree on as the baseline conditions. But I know that our work for the highway department, we are going to repair those sections so that it'll be ready during the construction.
So they'll tear it up again.
Hopefully not.
I guess I'll take that as an answer. I really don't like it, but I know that they did do some damage. So I've seen big trucks parked there late at night after dark, lights flashing.
We can look into that.
So it's going to be hard to prove it. I understand that. So I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Under further discussion, has anybody tried to go north on 31, south of Franklin and to Greenwood right now on 135? And then now we're going to close down another section of that? I mean, people from southern Johnson County aren't going to be able to go north anymore. Of course, I don't go north much anyway, but it's just how stupid can we be to schedule these projects the way we schedule these projects? And 31 for Michigan lefts, going up 31, and I don't know, I was in that disaster day before yesterday. I don't think I'll ever go that direction again. But we're running out of options in Johnson County to be able to go north. I just wonder who does this planning, and just wanted to bring that.
Morgantown Road.
Oh, yeah,
It's not under construction.
not yet.
Not yet.
But you know how crowded that road is? I was on there yesterday. Anyway,
I'm confronted with those same inquiries from time to time from some of the residents in the county, but I'm quick to tell them that in Indiana, our construction time is somewhat limited, and as much as we can't do much for about 4 months out of the year probably, and so we have to condense all of this work in the summer, or at least when the weather improves. I always give them that reasoning, but then sometimes it's a little unfortunate.
yeah, you can classify work though that you can do during the colder months instead of trying to get it all done. Anyway, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries, I reckon.
I got a question for Luke. You know, we just passed this ordinance with all the flooded out roads, signage, all that stuff. I would like to see the highway department maybe get some, I've seen these blow, I don't know, they're on springs, the triangles or the caution signs, but they're fixed kinda, and they don't blow over. Cause I know you run into issues where some of the signs we have now blow over, but I've seen a lot of utilities that have these signs that the wind will blow them, they'll pop right back up. I don't know if you've seen those type, but I would like to see if maybe we could invest in some of those so we don't have most of these things are gonna float away, they're gonna get knocked over. I'm just asking. And then maybe, second on that, some of these bad crossings that always flood, if we could get some gates up, maybe work with sheriff's department to lock some of these off. 'Cause you can talk to the sheriff, there are certain roads that every time they blow out and people continually, I don't care what you do in ordinance wise, they're gonna drive in and somebody's gonna lose their life. And I just wanna see if we can get, there's 2 or 3 really bad that always flood out.
We're already working on those, sir, just so you know.
Okay, just to get a gate put up. I just, trying to go to date, keys to the sheriff department, let them open, close it.
There's some areas are gonna be a little more difficult because property owners will have to have keys to get out, but we're looking into that.
Okay.
right now.
All right.
I started that process on Saturday.
Okay.
I was out doing all that crud.
So on the first question, there are certain signs that you're supposed to put up per the MUTCD when you do a road closure. It's actually one of the issues we need to work through on the gate question. But technically, you're supposed to put a type 3 barricade up. There aren't really any of those that are on the signs that you're talking about.
I'm just learning with you.
What happens is we run out of barricades in a major event like what we had, and then we've got to swap to whatever we have left.
Yep.
We have some of those signs that we use for daytime work where we might have a lane restriction, those warning signs. They are pretty popular, as in I would be concerned that they might walk away if we have to leave them out for a few days for a flood event. But ideally, we would have enough type 3 barricades to put out. Those do blow over too. I've seen that happen quite a bit. So, and then yes, we're working on the gate issue. We have the list of the roads that typically flood. Usually it takes a little time, a day or two after the major rain event. We're putting maps together to try to figure out where the best place to put the gates would be. And then again, we've got to figure out what we put on the gates and then how we provide access, because some of them are going to lock certain houses in. So we've got to work with those property owners as well.
Okay.
But we're working on it.
But it's a needed process.
Yep.
We need to do something with to help us get through these is then
I'm on board.
it's
All
strange.
right.
But anyway, thank you, Lou.
Thanks, Lou.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. New and old business claims.
I got a couple of things. First off, we had a claim for T-Shirt Express, one of my favorite entities. So I went to Libby, and of course, it's in our budget now, wearing apparel, and it was for the animal control. And the reason I bring it up is that it was my understanding that when we put that in our budget, that the departments that would come under our purview there would come to us first and say, this is what I'm wanting to spend out of wearing apparel, instead of going and doing it, and then we subsequently approved a claim. So tomorrow, I'm going to maybe emphasize this a little bit in our discussion tomorrow morning, that what I would like for our departments to do is, in their budgeting process, present us with a number they think they might need in regard to wearing apparel next year, and then we'll accumulate those totals and look at them and put it in our budget. But that was always my thinking. They would come to us first and let us recognize the issue and the need. And then the other thing is, back to the park department, again, they've got a Princess Lake and Water bill for $1,076.82. And I know this is the third month I've brought this up, and I thought there was a leak that you were looking into or something, but that's a lot of money you guys are spending every month that I'm not sure that. Before we talked about it, you thought it was a leak. Is it still the reasoning there?
Kevin Leonard, Parks Department. We actually think that one's the meter at the horse park. So everything feeds off of that meter, but not everything has sewer. So that's why we're getting charged a lot for basically all the water uses there that's not sewer. So we're looking into having Princess Lake separate some of those off. So then we won't get charged the high fee for sewer a lot.
All right, just trying to save you money, but
Yeah.
I never noticed that in the past. It's just been here recently that I noticed that one
Yeah, it's
huge
just the
bill.
line coming in for, that feeds that feeds the whole horse park is
Yeah.
a big line, so that's why it's charged so much more. So we're looking at separating some of those meters off, so then we won't get charged sewer for everything that's not
Yeah,
sewer.
good.
Because a lot of that's just water usage for horses
Yeah.
and things like that.
Thanks, Kevin.
That's kind of what I thought.
Other than that, I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Under further discussion, just I want to maybe clarify, is that was approved? What the
Yeah.
animal control,
Yeah, yeah.
they asked for approval of.
Oh, what? I didn't.
That was actually an extra onto what they'd already had approved, and they were just asking for approval to get those other items, which was an email that came to us that I approved.
Okay.
I just didn't want you to think they weren't. They do a pretty good job about following the rules, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner minutes for approval, 3/10/2025 regular meeting and 3/24/2025 regular meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment limited to 5 minutes per person, please, if anyone would like to comment.
Nobody's got any? I'm gonna say, Sheena, you graduated 4 more people from the recovery courts last week, so that was, glad to see that. It's working, so.
And
That was it. I just wanted to shout out to the court, sir.
I do want to say, and I don't know the whole situation, but I want to make sure that, Mr. Watkins, you know that our prayers and thoughts are with you at this moment in time, and I don't like to bring those things up, but we just heard that, so just want you to know we're praying for you. I apologize for that, and very sorry that has happened. So that's all I had.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.